What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video on Plug Power because they are having another good move in the stock market. It's been a good couple of days of positive green candles and green moves for Plug, and they were coming into some big kind of resistant lines and prices that could see different types of reactions. But before we get into that, if you are not subscribed, make sure you smash that sub button because we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and we can jump right in to the Plug Power chart here. So just zoom out a little bit here. We see recently, within the last month or two, we were on this downtrend here. We had a pretty solid downtrend, bouncing off it, continue going down, and we see the break below at 1751. This was a nerve-wracking time for Plug because we clearly, the next support is like $13 and we just have to keep going down from there, but managed to get above $19 here and then have a nice bounce up, breaking the trend line. And now we are challenging the bottom of the red channel here. This is going to be massively hard to get over, I think, because if we go back, we can see it was a massive zone of support when we were in this zone, bouncing off it 3 times before rallying up to $46 and then coming back down ultimately around here. So it could be very difficult to get over this kind of 23.63 level. Now, does that mean it can't get over if it goes into again? It already kind of challenged it once. This will be the second time. So the more and more that it challenges this, the weaker it gets. Eventually we'll get over that, but right now it's looking pretty good. I mean, we have 4 days of green candles and Plug. We're at 22.85, but we did hit $23 just before the close. And yeah, we're looking to get back into this red kind of zone here, and once we get back into this, we'll probably see it come and act just like it did back here and kind of fight its way around here. But we'll need to make sure we either bounce off these bottoms and continue kind of making good, like not breaking through this and trying to get back in again, kind of staying in there. But obviously this section, very, very resistant. We bounced off and couldn't get over it, bounced off, got rejected off it, bounced off again, finally got over it after getting rejected the day before. But so that's just something to pay attention to on the chart right now. And broke the downtrend, challenging the bottom of this red channel, and we're in so much better of a spot now. Not only is the overall market in a better spot, and there's so much less fear and scariness about the Fed and all these different kinds of things, and earnings was a big thing that people were worried about, but big tech came out and for the most part smashed it, did really good. Obviously we had Netflix did terribly, Facebook did terribly. They had bad effects in the market for a while, but not really ended up being too much right now. So with the market in a better spot, with big tech earnings behind us, with the Fed, we know these interest rate hikes coming in this next meeting. It's planned, it's known for. As long as it's not something out of what's expected, then I think we'll be perfectly fine and the market should be pretty good. And we're seeing lots of green across the market here, and these small caps are moving pretty good. And I mean, for Plug itself, obviously in a much better spot with the market and above this 1906 level, because that was our last support level from way back here before we kind of just went into no man's land. And I drew this 1367 to kind of try and find one, and I mean that's a big drop from $19, and an even bigger drop from this 46 peak here, and an even bigger drop from the $75 top that was earlier last year. And as for Plug Power, we actually have some a decent news looking at different kinds of metrics that are going on with hedge funds and insiders. And that would be this right here. We can see hedge funds actually increased their holdings by 405,000 shares last quarter. And we kind of have this change in inflection point in hedge funds where we see massive buying from hedge funds early in 2020. And then we see them kind of hit this peak here, and they begin selling off. We see recently with the last ending of the year that they were selling off tax loss harvesting from, obviously, if you got in at the top or got in basically almost at any price, then you would actually be able to tax loss harvest that, and seeing them come back in now. So the bars, obviously, we can see them declining, and then now we see, looks like we might have bottomed out and starting to make its way back up. Hedge funds getting interested again, taking on a little bit of risk and adding to their positions. This is obviously a pretty good thing, pretty bullish, and should be good for the stock overall. It's always good to have people coming in and wanting to hold the stock, obviously. And then to just add on top of that, that the insiders, I mean, nothing has changed. We know it's been only buying since July here, since the summer. No sales. And even on this entirety of this chart, there's only 2 sales or 3 sell transactions, and just overwhelming buys here from insiders. Always a good thing. So when insiders are really buying and they're bullish, they're the people on the inside that know what's going on the day to day. They're involved with the company heavily, obviously more than people from the outside can be. And if they're bullish on the stock, it's a really good sign for the company as a whole. And obviously, one thing we really have to look at with Plug Power is growing revenue. That's something that is pretty important to have. Obviously, this is quarter to quarter, and this goes back to 2019. So there's a couple times here where the revenue actually dips, where we can see it goes from 56 to 98 million, and then a dip to 40 million, and then we go back on the uptrend from 40 to 68 to 106, and then another little dip here to 83 million, and then another little dip again. So this, to have 2 in a row of dips, not great at all. But since June of 2021, we have gone from 71 million to 125.4 million to 143 million. So that is good moves, and keeping 100 million in revenue quarter over quarter. We will have earnings on February 24th to see how this last quarter went and see if they remain in this uptrend. It is kind of important to remain in the uptrend. That'll be something a lot of people are looking at. Growing revenues, very important. Obviously, Plug isn't profitable, which means to get there, they have to grow their revenue. So we will be looking to see what they report. For right now, if it's 143 million for the last quarter, if they hold somewhere around that 143 and don't go down to probably like under 100, would be a really bad sign. Or if they go, obviously we want to see it go up from 143 million. If they're around the same ballpark, then all right, kind of flatline. We'll see. You'll have to pay attention to the next quarter and see why they kind of flatlined. But we will be looking for the growing trend. And if you zoom out on Plug Power, we can actually see that since 2019, that's all the data I can get from this, because obviously I'm not upgraded to FinViz, but we see their total revenue go from 229 million to 306 million to 431 million dollars. That is great growth for 2019 to 2020, 2020 to 2021. That is obviously good signs of growth. They getting to that 431 million. Their goal originally, when in like 2020, was to get to $1 billion in revenue by 2024. They've actually upped that quite a bit now, where it's something like 1.5 billion or something like 1.8. They've upped it a lot from their previous earning calls and from their new guidance, and they are getting more bullish on themselves, and they could hit profitability by 2023 if they continue growing revenues and hit that $1 billion mark before they expected to. The only biggest problem with Plug is, one, obviously it's a long-term hold and it's going to be volatile. It's going to have upswings and downswings like we've seen. But two is paying attention to their 2024 profitability. If they are not profitable by 2024, which is still 2 years away, so obviously we have a long time till then, but if they are not profitable by 2024, then we have a big problem, and we'll have to reevaluate everything about Plug and see if they're really even worth holding on to, but I think they're going to make it through to us. I think maybe we get a good best case scenario and they become profitable next year, or maybe even the end of this year, but hopefully next year, 2023, they become profitable. They hit their $1 billion mark and they start actually churning over. These plants start to work out. The infrastructure they've built starts to work out, and everything just starts to come together. So we're still bullish on Plug, seeing them come up on the red channel there. See if they can break into that and get into over 23, about $24. That'll be in that red channel. We'll feel a lot better. But long term, still looking good. Revenue growth on revenue growth, and we'll be paying attention to their earnings on the 24th to see if they are continuing to grow their quarterly revenues. But as always, that's gonna do it for this video. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.